Selma and welcome to my book journey. I am here today to do part 2 of my March reading wrap-up. I had to stop think there for a minute. My March reading wrap-up, and I will link my first part in the comments below. I did a mid-month for the first time. I split my month up, and I did the mid-month March wrap-up, and I had several books on that list. In fact, I was trying to remember how many I read for the first part, because I read a lot more for the first part of the month than I did the second half, and I'll get into that here in a minute. But I read, let's see, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 books for the first half, and then this second half I only completed 3. And well, no, I think I only completed 2. So, sorry. And so I'll talk about that. My first book that I'm going to talk about is the reason why my month did not go well. I'm going to call this kind of maybe possibly either a full DNF or a soft DNF if I decide to pick this book back up. And so this one is called Nature of a Lady by Roseanna M. White. And this book, what am I going to say? This book, I made it to chapter 13, and I just tried and tried and tried and tried, and I don't want to read it. I just don't even want to finish it. And I kept trying to finish it. I mean, I kept trying to pick it up. It took like 2 weeks. I was dealing with this book for like 2 weeks, and I would read a few chapters, and it was just so slow. But I just was determined to finish it. And then I was reading other books while I was reading this one, and I would finish those other ones. But this one, I was like, oh, do I really need to finish this book? And I just need to maybe make an effort to, once I start a book, and if it is not connecting with me or I'm not enjoying myself, then I can just put that book down. And I didn't want to do it. I kept persisting. I was like, no, I need to finish it. And I have the second book, and I think that's why I wanted to try to finish it, because I have heard that this is part of a 3-book series, and I have heard that this one of the 3 is the least good. The least, I don't want to say worst, but just of the 3, it's probably number 3 as far as ranking. But, so that's why I kept trying to go on with it. But even yesterday, I was like, well, let me just try to finish it, try to, get through the, no, I couldn't do it. So this is going to be a DNF for me for this month. The book is about a woman from England that travels to the Isles of Sicily during the summertime on a vacation, and there is her servant that goes with her actually talks her into coming here, and this is the girl's home where she's from. And the friend, the one that talks her into going here, is there for a reason, because of her friend is missing. And has, I guess, been missing for a couple weeks, until she wants to come and investigate or find her friend, which is fine. I mean, that was what the back of the book said, is the mystery that, they're trying to find this friend. But as I'm reading the book, they're really not trying to find her. They're just going about doing what they're doing. I was like, aren't we supposed to be trying to find this girl? She's been missing for a couple weeks. And well, whatever. I don't know. It was just too slow. It's like, we need to do something. We need to tell me what the girl was there for. What was she doing? And they give you little bits and pieces, and I guess it might have, I got to chapter 13 and I still didn't know what this girl what she was doing there, or what she was uncovering. And then there's, I don't know. No, I don't know. So I don't think I'm gonna, unless somebody comments below and says, hey, chapter 15 is awesome. Get to chapter 15 and then it just really picks up. Unless somebody tells me that, I'm probably not gonna finish this book. At least not real soon. You know, I'll just put it on my shelf for a while. But that's that one. And so because of that, it kind of bummed me out for those last couple weeks in March. So I didn't finish like a lot of the other books that I had on my TBR. Okay. So then this one is not a DNF. I just didn't finish it because it's pretty hefty, and it's a nonfiction book. So I really want to take my time with it, and I didn't think I would really enjoy it, but I am enjoying it as far as enjoying the subject matter, you know, because it's pretty heavy. And this is about the Gulag Archipelago, and it is the story of what happened in Russia during the time period from like 1910 maybe to the 1940s. The way that Stalin was arresting people, his own citizens, and throwing them in the Gulag, and the reasons why they would arrest people and how they would arrest people, and really no rhyme or reason. They would arrest people in the morning, at work. I mean, you would go to work and you wouldn't know if you were going to come home that day because you didn't know if you were going to be arrested. And talk about living in fear. And you lived in fear of your neighbors because you didn't know if they were going to turn you in for doing something or saying something political. You know, if you were against what the leaders were saying in your community, you know, you were taken. And you weren't just put on a list, you were just taken from your home and taken to these prisons and were charged. I mean, you really didn't have any kind of trial per se. You were just put in prison for years, 10 years. And there was occasions when you would serve your 10 years, they would let you out, and then they'd find another reason to arrest you, and they throw you back in prison. And so this book is uncovering the tactics and the things that were happening in Russia that a lot of the rest of the world didn't know about, of course, because, you know, Russia's not going to tell their dirty secrets to the world. But also, this is a book that I'm reading with my husband, and we talk, you know, as I'm reading it to him, we're discussing these things and everything that's happening, and the author talks about how it went in waves. Like they would arrest these ethnicities because Russia's such a huge country. There was different ethnicities within the countries. You know, for a while they would, you know, get these people, and then they would arrest these people. I mean, there was no one safe. Even people in the government were being arrested. So you were not safe in that respect either, women or men. But I was telling him that back then in the 1900s, because Russia was such a huge country, the people really didn't know what their government was doing across the whole country, you know, what Stalin was doing, until it happened to them, until it came to their door, you know, front door. And then they're like, what, you know, what's going on? And so I can see that, because you think, well, how did the people allow this to happen? Well, probably a lot of them didn't know about it until it came to them, or they thought, oh, I'm never going to be taken. You know, I'm not speaking badly against whoever, you know, is in charge, but even, you know, he talks about, you know, there were so many people that were innocent that were arrested just because of quotas that needed to be done. And they went after all ranks of people, farmers, peasants, you know, people that were you know, teachers, all kind. It didn't matter. And so I've gotten pretty far, but I mean, you can see I've got tabbed up quite a bit with so many things that happen. So I am enjoying my time in this book. It's not enjoying the subject matter, but enjoying the reading that and the discussions that I'm having with my husband as we read this. And so hopefully after I get it completed, I will come back with a full, maybe I'll do a whole video just on this book with, you know, breaking it down a little bit better with my notes and things and to talk about it. But it's been a really good read so far. So there's that one. And then I read this book by Witemeyer, If the Boot Fits. And this one, I have done a full review video on it because I enjoyed it so much. It really kind of brightened up after reading the other one, and which put me on a downer. This one really, made my month. It was so good. 5-star read for me. And so I will put my video below in the comments if you want to watch the full review. But basically, it's a Cinderella retelling set in the Old West, and it's part of her Texas Ever After series. And the main character is Samantha, and she is the daughter of a very rich cattle rancher, and she meets Asher, who is our Cinder fella, and he and her meet under circumstances that happen at a ball that her dad has for her. And then there is kind of a suspense going on, and secrets that come to light as far with her family and her mother that had passed away. And that was a really interesting part of the book. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. It was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. And so really great book, really fun, really lovely story with her, Samantha, and her father. I love that relationship. And then a really sweet sweet romance between Samantha and Asher. So that was a really good one. And then the last book I read for the month was Ruthless, Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. And it's the second part to this book, Divine Rivals, which I loved this book. I read this book last year. And so I'll put the Ruthless Vows up here. So that one, like I said, it was the second book for this, and I believe it's a duology. Comment below if you know if there's going to be another one, or if this is it. I did not like this one as much as the first one. The first book, Divine Rivals, was so good because it was a love story that had was set in a different world. It's a fantasy book, but it had like a World War II historical fiction vibe, the way they portrayed it. And so it was fantasy because the girl Iris and the man Roman, they were co-workers, and it kind of like an enemies to lovers kind of trope in there. And the way they communicated with each other was through a magical typewriter. And I loved that part in the book. And they have magical things in the second part too, but it's different. It's different because they deal more with in the first book. They're going through like a war between two warring gods, like little gods, but gods in their world. And so in the second book, we get more of their backstory. Actually, they're front and center in this book. And so the love story is kind of still there, but it's not as much as it was in the first one. It's their relationship is different. They have a little twist, and because it's a second book, I don't want to talk too much if you haven't read the first one. But the only thing I didn't like the way it ended. It was like a rushed ending. That's why I don't know if this is going to be, if this is a book 2 duology and it ended, or if she has another book. It didn't really leave it open to, I guess all books are open to another, like a third book. It didn't seem like it did, like the first one did. So I don't know. But it was an okay read. I think I gave that maybe between 3.5 and 4 stars. It was okay. Definitely like the first book better. And sometimes that's how it is when you do read series, especially the second book usually isn't as good as the first book sometimes. But I mean, it was a good read. It was a good read to end the month. And I read that one really quickly too. It came in, I had it on hold on Libby, and it came in while I was reading the other books. And I read that one pretty quickly, so, because it was pretty, had a lot going on, a lot of action that was going on, so it was a quick read. And that is it. So that is all of the books that I finished up this March. And unfortunately, I didn't read all the books that I thought I was gonna get to. And I didn't fill up my states. I don't know if I talked about that in my last wrap up, but I'm kind of tracking my states in my on the map, like where I go as far as books. And I think I only got 2. I got Texas because of the fairy tale book, and Ohio. I'm trying to think what that might have been one of the other books that I read, or in Maine. But yeah, I still have quite a few states, but we're only in March. I mean, I only finished March, but that is it. And as you can see, I'm in a different location today. I'm downstairs in my craft room in my basement, just kind of testing out different places to record and see what I like, and that kind of thing. I don't know if I like this or not. We'll see. I don't know if it's quieter down here. I don't have the doggy, trying to get out front door. So we'll see if I record down here again. But thank you for sticking around and hanging out with me today to listen to what I finished off the month with. Comment below. Let me know how your month went, your March went. Did you get a lot of books in? Did you read a lot of middle grade books for a middle grade March, or the March Mystery Madness? So yeah, those are the 2 things. I didn't read any extra ones for the second half. I wanted to, but I didn't get around to it. But sometimes you just have to, and reading, you have good months where you read, good weeks where you're just having a really good reading time. In others, you're just not in the mood because of a book that gets you in that mood, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, comment below how your month went, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and we'll see you later. Have a blessed day. Bye.